All right, Roger's Hot Rod Garage. This is Roger. We're into day 2 of 2023, and I spent the last 2 days playing with the 914 LS3 project. So let me show you what I've done here. So the gas tank is in, but what I didn't know, and again, I didn't disassemble this car, is see these little rubber plugs right here? You actually have to have those. So again, I ran over to Ralph's shop. He lives close proximity to me here in Germany, and got those 2 plugs because that's the deal. Anything I need to complete the car, since I bought it from him, he's actually gonna give me. There's the other side right here. While I'm down here, I've got my Willwood external feeds for the clutch, and I don't know if that's gonna be the left one or the right one, and those 2 hoses run down to the bottom right here. Hold on, let me show you that. And if you notice here, my wiring harness is getting really a lot of wires in there. All this stuff right here has to be extended to run inside here, because traditionally this right here, the fuse box from Easy Wiring, is supposed to be mounted someplace underneath the dash. I thought it was a good idea to put it up here so I can show off all my fancy wiring skills here, but ultimately change probably number 3 or 4 right now. This sucker, I'm going to take this out today. I only have to push it to this bulkhead right here and unwind all the stuff. Then the only thing coming through here is going to be the front lights, driving lights, and the horn. Pretty simple stuff. But look, since I have this thing open, I don't know if I actually showed you this or not before, but this is my lay down Griffin cooler via Summit Racing a long time ago. Now, if you've noticed, I've got some pretty fancy modifications in here. This right here is all TIG welded, and this is all rubber mounted right here. Now, the idea is the air comes through down here. I know it's kind of low, but I got a solid 5 inches right here, and I can jack this thing up in the front. Not jack it up, but use those little screws for the torsion bars to get them up. But anyway, comes in here, blows through here. This right here has got a metal bottom to it. It's a piece of marine plywood. There'll be carpet on top. This is all going to be sealed right around here, and the idea is air comes in, blows up through here, shoots out the back right here, and then also shoots out the side. I can drill big giant holes on the side right there here, and I got all this structural integrity here that I basically beefed up the front. This is all welded in here, and then I just put 2K paint on it and clear coated the crap out of it. So that's the idea here. Let me shut this thing down now. Kind of loose right now, there we go. Now again, this right here today, I'm gonna take this thing off, move it around to the other side. Gas tank is in, and I'm going to take that fuse block and probably mount it upside down right here. But again, how many times do you actually have to look at the fuses? And again, I can be like a Romanian gymnast, be very flexible and flip myself around here and look at the stuff. In case you haven't seen all this stuff down here, this is my pedal assembly. It's already painted, put down in here. All the brake light switch, everything's already in here. And this is my LS3 electronic throttle control, which I'm going to run through the center here. What I can also show you here, this is just going to be literally with a little bit of silicone glued down here, and then I'll put my Dynamat over top of it, and the carpet will go over top of that too. Anyway, let me just show you one more thing here. Called up my buddy. This right here is, I guess you would call this an expansion tank. I already painted this thing nice and neat. It wasn't that difficult to do. But literally, it sits right up underneath here like this. Now, you don't really need it. It just expands the gas. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a charcoal filter. Put that down here carefully. Do a charcoal filter and just vent it through this little vent hose right here. That's your vent hose. And this right here, this big thicker one, if you can see that, it's kind of dark in here, just basically runs right down here. It's just your overflow in case when you fill this thing up, you spill some gas up in here. But anyway, that's what it looks like. It's pretty clean. And also by not putting that big giant expansion tank in here, I have access. I can put my hand down here and here. If you notice, that's not stock. That's just a cheapy eBay windshield wiper washer with the little motor down on here. And again, those are my external fills. So this is not the only part of the video. When I get this thing moved over, I'll close this video out, but this should be number 18 from Roger's Hot Rod Garage. So stay tuned here a couple minutes. Rainy day here in Germany, blustery, but it's okay. The garage is warm. Bye-bye. All right, hold on here. I guess I can grab it. Right, this isn't a bad undo right here. Not like those holes I cut in the side of the body for the air vents, but I talked about that in the last video. This is pretty simple. Let me pull this off of here. I might build a pretty little aluminum plate to put on there. And again, it just makes common sense after I've kind of reassessed my way of thinking here by putting that little simple 12-wire wiring harness, 12-circuit wiring harness up front here. So it should be pretty simple. Just cut those bolts off. Oh yeah. So that's pretty simple. Pull this off here. Your metal in here, so this one went a well too. Of course, I love painting crap and then having to grind off the paint, but since you're not going to see this anyway, I really don't care at this point. The only thing is on the other side is the fender well, so I'm going to have to go prep that because I don't want all the water and stuff coming on here. And look, let me show you one more thing here. Again, it doesn't have to do with a Porsche, but I take these little carriage bolts, file off the back of them, clean them up really good right here, and then to mark it, you need something really, really thin like this right here. Take your marker. Since the marker's not going to fit through this little bitty hole right here, you dab a little paint right down here, and then you mark it right here. Place this where you want it. I think it's about right there, so I get to it. And then that little bitty paint pen. Perfect. And right there, I've got my mark right now, so that's just a little tip. Again, don't listen to me because I've been screwing up a lot of things on this little project. Lorsch welder, 3 should be good. Put a good penetrating bead on this sucker. Lay this down here, gas on, start welding. Right there, close eyes, look away. And just a little bit because I don't want to break through there. Going to do one last fit. The bottom goes in first, top goes in first. Perfect. So I got a nice little fit up in here. If you can see that, there's where the bolts I just welded on. I'll just run 10 millimeters up and through here, and then like I said, I'll spray can that. This wiring come back to the bottom. I'll actually disconnect all this, run them out the top so I don't have this crap down here. But look down here, this is actually where the heater air vents from the old Boxster motor came through. And I'm going to use that to run all my wiring for the rear lights, the brakes, the turn signals, anything required for power in the back of the car. And they'll run right along this rail and they'll pop out on the inside. So I'm glad I did that. I call it re-engineering on the fly. You know, sometimes it's just a good idea 6, 7 months ago, a year ago, just doesn't pan out. And it all basically hinged on me trying to run that entire wiring harness through here, and then it just gets kind of tight up there and I have no flexibility. So now the only thing going to come through this hole right here, if you can see the bottom end of it right here, that's the actual fuse box, the turn signals, is I'm going to run just, I think there are 5 or 6 wires up here for the lights, running lights, turn signals, and the stuff for the amplifier. So it just cleans it up a little bit. And since I'm up here, check this out. I went ahead and just made this little stainless steel plate. That's just not for fancy good looks and the aesthetics of it. It's to hide my ugly ass little wells I put back here because I was hiding it with a fuse box that used to be located right here. So it's just a piece of stainless steel, cleans it up a little bit. And also, if you had a suitcase up in here, I was thinking about that. Remember, this is all going to have carpet and you can put a little bit of storage up in here. If that suitcase ever fell over and hit that fuse box, it just wouldn't be good. So anyway, good idea 5, 6, 7, 8 months ago. I just re-engineered it for a little time. I spent about an hour doing that. And then over here, this is the gas tank. Remember, I'm not going to use the expansion tank on the bottom of this thing that sits up here. So I went ahead and flexed these off right here before I put gasoline in it. And I'll mix up some 2K paint here in just a second, some flat teeth Schwarz, dark black. And here's another one here, and I'll just touch it up with a paintbrush real quick. All right, let me button up this video real quick here. So, look, moved everything down here, got the light shining up in here, and this is what it looks like. So, mounted, I've got all these cables right down here. Like I said earlier, these are going to go down this hole right here and out the back to the rear of the car. Everything you see on this side over here stays underneath the dash. Turn signals, you know, air conditioning over there, all that stuff over here. Everything's fused. And then I'll show you up here. Look how clean this looks now. Everything down here is just like 5, 6, 7 wires. What I also have to do is I got to take a big giant plus, whatever gauge cable that's going to be, run it along here, along here, along here, come out through here, and then put it through that grommet I put right down in here. Also, I use this stuff right here. It's kind of like an insulator for sound, but what I do is I double it up, and anywhere where I have cables running along the line right here, like right up here, I use it for like anti-chafing type stuff. Last thing you want is this cable right here to run back and forth. All the stuff right here, I'll actually put inside of that rib stuff that you put on here for insulation, and then I'll stick it inside that hole right there, and again, run it all the way in the back. So basically, that's it. I'm glad I re-engineered that thing and got it working fine. And that's about it from Roger's Hot Rod Garage, 2 January 2023, and that's about it. Take care, good night.